You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV Scandal After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV Scandal After Show.
Happy Halloween. Oh, the music had a little bit of intro there. Anyway, something different I haven't heard, but happy Halloween, guys. Thank you for joining us this beautiful evening, Thursday, October 31st. This is Season 3, Episode 5, More Cattle, Less Bull. I am your host, Emile Ennis Jr., and I'm joined here with 3 amazing gladiators, as always, starting with...
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Kennelia.
Hi, I'm Sofia Stanley.
And I'm Bamm Ericsen.
Oh, because I forgot, none of us are in costume. Last year we dressed up except for Bamm. Mm-hmm. So
I'm in costume because I was at a party that I mentioned last week, and I had to, leave the party and, of course, come represent for Scandal. And I'm going back to the party when it's over, so that's why I look like this.
And this glows in the dark.
Yeah.
Hit the lights, Were any gladiators there? Did anybody show up? You invited people to the party? People you invited.
There was a lot of people there, and people were in costume, so I don't know.
I meant fan, but maybe. Anyway, so let's get right into this episode, guys. We're going to start with this whole campaign because people are trying to start their campaign for election. Fitz is working on his reelection. So let's start with who we were introduced last week, Josie Marcus. So she is interviewing people or gets to be her campaign manager, and Olivia Pope is being interviewed, and they start talking, and then all of a sudden she says, I want her hired. And her assistant, who happens to be, we'll find out later, who happens to be her sister, as she tells us, Candy, says, there's still other candidates. She says, no, I want this woman. And we find out, which we already knew, but we find out from Josie's mouth that she had a baby at 15 and she wants Olivia to fix the situation. So she says, Olivia, I want you to fix it, essentially. And that's all that we were left with. And then Olivia sends her team to Montana because that's where the family is, to shut these 5 people up who know about this baby that was had at 15. So let's talk about that for a little bit, because we know obviously what happens, but she didn't initially reveal to Olivia the truth of the situation. We have this happen with a lot of Olivia's clients where they give her a little bit of information, and if they would have just given her everything from the beginning, it probably would have gone a lot smoother.
My problem is, and I wish I kind of had gone back and actually watched some of the earlier episodes so that I could kind of dictate it verbatim, but don't you recall that one of Olivia's rules with her clients was truth, right? Because at the end of the day, it's not that she doesn't care one way or the other, but number one, in knowing the truth, she has the option of deciding if she wants to fix your problem, right? Number two, they don't lose. Right. And part of the way that you don't lose is that you have all the information. So somehow, and again, we've talked about it before, I don't know if it's because now OPA is in a place of desperation where they're just taking anything. There was no negotiation between her and Josie on whether or not she would in fact fix it. It's almost like Josie told her, go fix it, and she went and did it and didn't get any more intel.
And it was immediately she called and started working on it, yeah.
My problem with Olivia taking this case is, where's her loyalty? In the sense of, this woman wants to be the president of the United States. And just 2-3 years ago, you ran the campaign which got Fitz elected. and so where's your loyalty? And so I think she was a shady Shaniqua for what she did.
Yeah.
It's a very good point,
I'm going back on the issue with Josie. Josie told her there were 5 people who knew about the pregnancy and the baby. Josie, you didn't think that Olivia was going to come back with the information that she was your sister? She could have just told her. To me, that was a complete waste of time and resources. You could have told me that from the jump, and then we could approach it differently. You know what I mean? It could have been a totally, just a whole nother scenario.
But what's interesting, look back to the other lady. I think last week, I think sometimes people don't want to reveal all the information because they may don't want to be judged, or they may feel a certain way. And so maybe that's why they tell majority of the truth, but you know, that one big thing that they think may blow over, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? I think it's fear sometimes why people don't give 100% of the truth.
To me, I think this was what Josie was underestimating. She was underestimating Olivia, but not to the point where not thinking she was smart and could figure it out. But Josie seemed to not think that it was going to be as easily traced as it was.
Well, she's not even in a presidential candidate mindset
True.
yet. That's the issue, because there's so many things, like if she's running for presidency, every single secret you have is going to be exposed, and for her to think that she can just gloss over this and nobody's going to find out the truth, that bothered me. The good thing about them going to Montana was that obviously they intercepted Cyrus's people and the White House's people, so I'm glad that they went to Montana. I don't know if they would have done that if...
I'm not glad.
Well, if they didn't go to Montana, though, then the president, that whole situation wouldn't happen. Olivia wouldn't be able to fix it. You see what I mean? Because then that information would have came out and it would have just skewed the whole story in a completely different direction instead of her warming America's hearts as she did.
Very true, but I also think Ethan's an idiot.
Well, yeah.
He is a little thingy, but yeah.
So, you know.
Well, can I talk about real quick? I have to. The fact that Quinn's grounded. That they all
That's
know.
hilarious.
They're like, we know about the drill baby drill. You've been grounded. And they're all shutting her out because they're basically saying, what you did to Huck is out of line and no one told you to do it. You need to literally sit down, pump your brakes until you figure something out.
And I can't tell you how many eye rolls I have during the episode. We probably all did it, but she was in the car and Huck was on the phone talking to Jake, and then she's like, "Who you talking to?" I'm like, "Oh my God, girl."
Can I have a conversation on the phone?
Seriously.
But actually, let's back up, and this is adult content right here. Basically, both Abby and Huck were basically on phone calls getting off. Right? Because for Abby, it's David and what she does with David. And with Huck, it's what Huck does, right? Which is like sleuthing and conspiracies and going through information. And then again, what is she now addicted to or attracted to? She's attracted to the same thing that Huck is already engaged in. So that's why she's like, who are you talking to?
Yeah.
Right? Because think about it. Like, as if he's cheating on her, which in her mind, he is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna jump on you guys. I'm gonna jump on Team Shut Up Quinn for a minute, because when she did say, "Who are you talking to?" It's a relative or that nosy girlfriend, boyfriend, where you can't have a conversation without somebody always, "Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? Who's that on the phone?" Like, I was Team Quinn, shut the hell up, just for that moment. But I want to now talk about OPA just for a second, because Harrison and Abby, the only time that they have any kind of communication with Quinn is when they're shutting her out or doing something, I guess maybe in a negative way. Like, there was more conversation, and that's only because they were basically telling her, shut up because you're on punishment. Like, have a conversation, say something, because it's like, if you guys would just embrace her, do something, hey Quinn, say something to her, maybe she wouldn't be so damn nosy.
She's not
But
being
they don't
included
conversate
anymore.
with each other, though. Like, if you really talk about, they don't conversate with each other. Only, like, think about it. This whole time, only thing that Harrison said to Abby that wasn't work related was that you're weird or crazy or whatever he said. That
and made a face at her in the car.
They don't talk to Huck. They don't talk to each other at all.
But Abby and Harrison, they may not have a conversation where we have conversation, but there's contact. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
So if you want her to behave and shut up, then talk to her.
But even if you talk to her,
I know.
that's not going to silence it, because that's not the need that she's trying to feed. Like, it's beyond social interaction now. She's addicted to a lifestyle that is more in line with Huck's lifestyle, which is killing people. She was happy when she got the drill to do, when she was torturing him. So the connection that you're talking about, I don't think that's going to really change anything. I don't think it's going to change nothing with her.
Well, even on top of that, like not talking to her doesn't help the situation, but giving her like menial tasks, like returning items to a store, like that's your job. So of course it's going to push her over the edge, wanting more than what she has.
And again, as I've said before, when you demean intelligent, smart women with making her go take items back, don't play with a smart woman, because things happen and now she has a gun and who knows what happened. They should have never sent her off to go make a return for some goods.
But let's back up a quick second. And I was having a conversation with a couple of people online. Why did Huck bring her in to his fold? Right? And the only thing I can think, and I'm still undecided, so I'm going to think out loud for a quick second. Either he did it because he saw that she was a lost puppy and Olivia somehow wasn't protecting her, so he brought her in the only way that he knew how. Right? So that was almost the residual effect, is you're going to see that I'm really a killer, and that's that, right? Or he was in fact trying to train her because he knows he's leaving for whatever reason, that he knows that because he's now relapsed in a way that he doesn't actually think he can pull himself back, he has to train a replacement. And I'm not quite sure what it is, or if it's possibly both. Because I think at the end of the day, I go back to accountability. I still think that the accountability for Quinn being a loose cannon, part of it rests with Quinn, but I really think that the majority of it rests with Olivia, then Huck, then the associates, then Quinn.
I completely agree. Let's go back to the Josie Marcus thing and wrap up the whole Josie Marcus situation. Olivia basically tells her what she found out, what her team found out, and then Josie Marcus says that she wasn't prepared to be in the public eye. She was kind of thrown in there because of the comments that she said about her dead husband, and she says her sister is off limits, and Olivia said, "How bad do you want?" She did, I guess not that bad.
Goodbye.
Yeah, exactly.
And when she said that, that's exactly what we all said. Well, you don't have the stomach for it. Then it's, well, game over. Olivia, get your check and let her do what she's going to do.
It just continued to be that naivete about being a presidential candidate for her to, even the day of the debate with Reston, who's back, she comes in there and Olivia's telling her what she has to do. It's almost a slap in the face to Olivia multiple times to not respect her enough and think that she's knowledgeable enough and had this many clients to know this is going to come out. You need to listen to me. And for her to just sit there, oh no, I'm not going to do it. And then she just looked kind of stupid when she got up there during the debate. I think
that was a good moment for her because, like Cyrus said, she just wanted America's heart because she seemed like she was torn. It was
authentic.
Yeah, it was very authentic. But Lisa Kudrow, goodbye.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, my thing is, it seemed like she was under the impression that past experiences with presidential, debates or running for the office wouldn't apply to her. Because when Olivia was explaining, like, this is what they're going to do, they're going to try to dig, and she was like, well, they can dig at me, but my family is off limits. Honey, nobody's family is ever off limits. You think you're not the exception.
But, let's just jump on the other side. A lot of I don't know, maybe some people think when they go into politics, they're going to be just honest and they're just going to do, serve the people and maybe she just has no clue. So
I think the difference is, I was really hoping when she said not that bad, that literally was the end of it. Mm-hmm. That she basically was like, okay, I'm not going to run. Right? Because if you think about it, the entire show, right, is about what people are willing to do and what people are willing to give up for, quote unquote, the president or that title, right, that position, or the republic, right? So Rowan has quote unquote given up, and I'm just jumping for a little bit because we're gonna see he may have really given something up. Fitz has given up his integrity, right? Olivia arguably has given up her integrity. Mellie has given up her integrity. Cyrus never really had any. But do you know what I mean? Like, they're all lying and skeeving. And somehow, for a split second, I thought that Josie was honorable in the standpoint that she was like, okay, cool. If I can't keep it private, then I'm going to step out. And I'm going to hold my family dear. And I'm going to hold people who had no choice and no option sacred and put them before my own selfish needs. And to me, the fact that she did it, and she almost, I feel like, this is gonna sound crazy, but she went to the dark side, and so, loved it. Like, she felt it. That's when she stuttered, and as she's talking, and that's where she's like, oh, is it my time up? She was feeling it. She was feeling the energy, and I can't decide where the storyline's gonna go, but if it goes, we're gonna have a problem.
I didn't take it that way. I took it as that was her way of connecting more with the American people, saying, oh, it's my time up, kind of one of those political type jokes. I took it as that, but I just want to say really quick that she still lied, because she said that
she put it up for adoption.
So she still lied.
Yeah. Well, at the end of that, she fired Olivia, and now she wants to hire her again. But I want to talk about Fitz's reelection campaign. So we have Cyrus and Mellie, who are in the office, and they're talking to Leo, who is Leo Bergen. Is that Bergen?
Yes.
That's his name? He is going around the office looking at things, kind of distracting himself and kind of avoiding the topic, even though he knows what he was brought there for. And then eventually they get to the business, and at first he tells Mellie, or talks to Cyrus and says, maybe we should have this moment alone. And then Mellie says, don't think of me as the first lady, and she just wants to be included. And
she said,
he's our guy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Don't look at me as I'm just a first lady.
Exactly. And it was that moment when he said, okay, just basically be prepared for what you're going to hear. And it kind of reminded me of when, in a different way, but he reminded me of the guy who she hired when she was going to reveal that Olivia Pope was the Mr. George. He was sleeping with somebody who's really like speaking the truth to her face and everything. And he just basically let it all out, saying why the president does not have a good chance of being reelected, which we all know.
We went full circle. Like, it literally almost verbatim, just in his own words, was what Olivia said in the trail, sorry. Freudian slip. You know what I mean? Like, he was like, no, he's like, you're not getting screwed. Like, you're not happy. You have a marriage problem. The only difference is, what did he call her? His wife is a frigid shrew.
Mm-hmm.
And Cyrus was like, oh, we all have problems. We're here to fix that. You know what I mean? And at that moment, I actually literally said in my head, and I had seen the sneak peek earlier in the week, I was like, this will be the true test of Mellie. Because it was so obvious. So you're going to go back to Olivia, right? Because it's literally exactly what Olivia said. He said, the same problem you have, how did you fix it last time? But when there's a problem, call Olivia.
And you notice how she didn't fret when he shut her down. She was just like, okay, I got a plan.
Well, yeah, she knows. Yeah. After that, though, she became a little worried. And I remember she was talking to Fitz in the hallway, and she was talking about, you need to call Leo Bergen or whatever, because he said, no, let Cyrus worry about the re-election. You have other things to worry about. Shut down again. So Mellie's just having a pretty shitty day. But what do we think about Sally Langston coming in there?
Sally always has her own angle. She always has, an agenda. Sally has had her own agendas from season 1 to now, so I wasn't surprised.
But do you think, the reason why I ask is because do you think it's something similar to what Bamm is saying about women and keeping them idle? Because in a way, she has the same issue where she's not being included ever, and so she's trying to find another avenue where she can have her voice heard. Well,
but even when she was trying to do her own thing in the beginning, she was still plotting and doing her own thing. So I don't know if it's necessarily about keeping her idle. Sally knows what her end game is to be the president. And at this point, she's going to strike while the iron is hot. Fitz already tried to give her an enroll before a couple episodes back when he was going to lay it all out on the table. So it seems like Sally is like, it's now or never. I'm throwing everybody under the bus. I'm getting in the Oval Office.
I'm actually going to jump on the bandwagon at the same point that I think it is the fact that they're dismissing a lot of people. Their major issue, right, isn't Governor Reston, right? Their issue is the fact that Josie, in being an affable female opponent, could actually win, because let's just be real, it would be potentially the first female president, right? Now, if Fitz had played things completely differently, would have two aces, right? He would have a first lady who's extremely intelligent that he has now diminished because technically she did, but he did have an affair, right? She said that he did, and then he admitted to having one, right? But they still didn't somehow come out. Like, after that, she should have some kind of platform. You can't just be like, oh, and now she's going to be by my side, like the Miss Little Quiet, I'm going to suck everything up, and think that you're going to potentially win against an intelligent, viable, democratic female candidate. Bad move, right? You need to utilize her. Number 2, with Sally Langston, same thing. With Sally, what you have is not only do you have a female vote, but you do have the more conservative votes that he doesn't normally get, right? So that's what he needed her for. And again, he's not using her. So again, certain women, arguably, who, and I don't mean to do like political demographics, but the women who were either in the middle or on the Republican side who potentially could vote because they want a female president, if you literally make Sally viable to potentially be the next president after Fitz, you negate that. You're not doing that. You guys aren't strategizing. Like, I don't even know what their game plan is calling in Leo. Like, seriously, like, they're not strategizing.
Yeah.
Fitz and and Olivia.
Shut it down. Fitz and Olivia, this whole situation, it's grown back on me because remember I've said this before. 2 weeks ago I was joining the O-Lake train and now I'm back on the O-Litz train.
Oh, I'm gonna give it to you now.
Well, I'll take it. I will take it. I really don't care because it is a show and I love that couple. So it's one of those things where she is using Jake. That's plain and clear to see now. Just a little toy that she has available when she wants him. She can use him. And I think it was clear in this episode, but it was very clear when Jake, we'll talk about this later, but Jake was in her office. And when he was in her office, what's up?
How the hell did he get in the office?
Well, because Huck,
he's
he talked to Huck, and Huck, I mean, they can get into anything.
Same way he got into Rowan's house.
I understand that.
But he's saying that, why didn't Olivia say how did you get in there? But she knows he's a spy.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no question. Yeah. But
it was almost like, when Martin with Brother Manny just walk in the house.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, hi, what do you do? Okay, next, sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, he was in there, and Olivia said that she left her phone there when she had her phone in her hand, right there in her hand, and then he said, oh, you left your Fitz phone. And then we had this whole dramatic thing where she goes in there and she talks about how she's never missed a correspondence dinner and how she used to vet his jokes and he hasn't. And then the lip quiver happens and then she throws the phone in the trash. And then, we all knew it wasn't going to be over at that point when she threw the phone in the trash. And then fast forward a couple days later, she gets a call from Fitz in her office while she's drinking wine, and she pulls that phone right. Like she got on her knees, dug through the trash. Even though I thought the phone was right on top, though it looked like it was right on top. But anyway,
it's that frenzied feeling.
Yeah, she dug through it. She probably dropped it down a little bit. She was going in the trash, but she picked that phone up, and then it was this beautiful moment that made me fall in love with their relationship again. I don't know. It was a beautiful moment between them, and it's funny. It was just little moments where he was like, what did he say? I'm hiding from Mellie in the bathroom, and they start going over jokes and what he could and couldn't say. And then he said, I love you. And
see, at that moment when we watched, I gave out a long sigh. And the moment was nice. It was really nice. But for me, how long are we going to do this dance?
For, I don't know how many seasons to come.
I don't know. I get that's how relationships are though. Like if someone breaks up with you or you break up with them and one person still is trying to hold on and the other one is acting like they don't want to hold on and you call and you have these conversations back and forth. It's normal relationship stuff, but seeing it's like when you try like giving your girlfriend the advice, your homegirl the advice when you didn't take it yourself. I was just frustrated. I was like, how are we gonna keep doing this dance? Come on, Fitz, Olivia, just hang up the phone and take a nap. I was just over it.
Okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate. I agree with both of your assessments, but I think I'm leaning more towards Emile in the standpoint that I thought it was beautiful, and this is actually one of the times where I thought there was a purity to it because he said it and then he kept going. Do you know what I mean? Like he didn't need her. He didn't want anything from her, right? He just wanted her to know that he loves her. Number one. Number two, I think it was literally in the moment, like what they do, like this, like her helping him and strategizing and him really being able to be like, yeah, you're right, I'm not funny. Like he's the president of the United States of America, jumping a little bit with the whole basketball game. No one's real with him other than her. Cyrus is somewhat harsh with him, but with malice. She's the only one who's just telling it straight, like, you're not funny, this is what you should do. And so I think there was a part of him saying, I love you. It was pure. It was like, I love you. Like, I love how smart you are. I love how intelligent you are. I love how the conversation started was he was calling to tell her that she did a good job. Right? Because he basically was like, that was really smart. Like, I think he really respects her and he really respects how her brain works and who she is in that space in her life. So I
have to admit, it was beautiful, and it wasn't like, I love you, I want you to come see me, let's have sex. It was just, having conversation. And sometimes when you're having conversation with that other, sometimes you just, you know what, I love you. Or, you know what, you look really hot. It's just a blurt, and then you just go right back into conversation.
Yeah, it was a nice moment while you're whispering with your wife outside the bathroom. Though.
What are we saying?
You know what I mean?
Hiding in the shadows.
Lurking in the shadows. It was a nice moment. When you were hiding, you know what I mean? I'm starting. This whole dance is starting to get. Is for me. I'm getting exhausted with with the sneaking in the bathroom and let's have a talk. Mellie, I'm hiding from Mellie, but no, she's really outside the bathroom, so it's not really hiding. We're hiding our relationship from someone who knows about our relationship.
Okay, I can't even argue with that. I can't. But I think that. Did you notice that moment right before he called? It's almost like she was like, oh my goodness, he's not going to call. And she was trying to make herself okay with it. And then that was the moment that he called.
Mm-hmm. Well, then let's remember the last time they talked, Jake intervened and said that thing on the phone. So in a way, she thought it was basically over for a while before he finally, I guess, came to his senses. We go through this cycle again like you're referencing. But for him to call you, so she's like, okay, he's not going to call. Oh my God, it's over. And then all of a sudden, oh. So he's here, and then it was that moment of, I think it was a combination of things, that, but also for him, he sees her on TV and he's like, oh, that's my girl. That's what she does. And then it was that moment when she's telling the jokes, and he's like, damn, I really love you. Mm-hmm. Like.
Yeah. Now I'm going to totally talk out of the other side of my mouth and jump onto what Kennelia was saying. I just have to. I wish that we would see their relationship not in a state of desperation. I think that, and I'm thinking this out, young love is like when you need each other, right? And I know that like love, you need each other, but in the same point, like they actually really need each other. Like Fitz needs her in order to be president, and she somehow needs him too, right? And so I'm not talking the Rose Garden. Imagine how amazing it would be if Fitz was like fully in charge, fully the president, and was literally calling her just to be like, hey, what's up? I actually don't need anything from you, right? And she was talking to him and interacting with him, and everything in her life was great. Because then they wouldn't be trying to fill a hole. They would be whole human beings choosing to love each other. Because I think that's actually why there's a flaw in their relationship. It's because they're not whole human beings, and part of it has to do with the fact that there's a secret, right? And they're not fully being who they are. They're not realizing their true selves. I think if they realize their true selves, we wouldn't have this back and forth. They would either be together or they would not.
Well, let's talk about what happened right after that, or a day or so after. She calls Jake and tells Jake that she wants him to take her to the correspondents' dinner, and Jake agrees. He pretty much agrees like almost immediately, and then they go to this dinner together, and freaking that dress. I saw the dress in the previews last week and I was like, but that dress was so beautiful. And Olivia comes in there, and as soon as she sees Fitz, it's that same connection they always have. But it was a moment during the dinner when she gets a glance from Tom, and we thought Tom was the good one. We thought Tom was on Fitz's side, and then all of a sudden she's like, okay. And then when she strutted down the hallway with the hips twisting and she was working the dress, and then she walks in and we see boom, Mellie.
Where is the loyalty with these people on Scandal? Damn.
Like, really?
You are a Secret Service. You're not supposed to answer to the First Lady. But it's a soap opera. It's a nice soap, so I get it.
I mean, I was disappointed in Tom. Yeah. I'm just saying. But he walks in there and it's Mellie, and this is a different side of Mellie. I wrote down what she said specifically. Well, first I said Olivia gets called by Tom and struts. And then I said, or Mellie said, I like your new boyfriend. Is he married?
Sorry.
Listen, she has every right to throw daggers any chance that she gets.
I like how even though she caught Olivia in there because she needs her, she had to throw that out. And she's like, I'm sorry, that was a low blow.
And if Olivia was real jabby, she could have said, no, but my old boyfriend was. Ooh. How is he?
Yeah.
Tell him I said, what's up?
I can't deal with you. But this whole spiel that we have between Mellie and Olivia, Mellie saying that she wants Olivia to run the reelection campaign because, like we kind of touched on earlier, Sofia was saying when they had the meeting with Leo said everything that was wrong with their marriage, and it was the same situation as when Olivia stepped in previously when Fitz was trying to get elected the first time. So
Can I do some of it? And I wish that I wrote quicker. But she goes, I'm sorry, that was below the belt. I'm sorry. I'd like you to come back. I'd like you to run his campaign. He needs you, Olivia. He breathes for you. He is tired and broken, and it's not the job. It's the job without you. He can't breathe if you're not there. I literally was like, it's the Rose Garden from a different perspective. And I've said this since day one. And I don't mean this in a sexual way, but their relationship is a trinity. It is Mellie, Fitz, and Olivia.
Well, before you continue, it was that very last two things she said. She said, "You're everything to him. He needs you, so I need you."
Well, am I the only person though that wasn't 100% buying this?
Of course, yeah.
I'm not buying. I don't buy it. I think there's an angle that Mellie's playing to try to get this whole, to try to get Olivia back.
Well, Mellie still has her end game.
On her trusting side, but I think Mellie's end game is not in the interest of Fitz or Olivia. But
it is because Fitz's interest is her interest. And that's why I don't care what anyone says. Like, Mellie is gully. Like, I think Mellie is dismissed a lot. Like, when Mellie says Fitz is her boy or Fitz is her guy, like, she's not messing about. That's why she didn't pull the card with the whole him sleeping with someone. Like, she went there, but she didn't really go there, right? She has always known, and especially lately it's been more evident, Olivia is the love of his life. Like, she knows it. She's tried every angle. She's tried being nice. She's tried being mean. She's tried everything. At the end of the day, when she had that guy, Leo, tell her again exactly what the problem was, she knew what she had to do.
And not only that, but you have Lisa Kudrow's character, who's potentially was running. You got Sally.
And time out. And she's the one who put Josie in the spotlight.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And so with all these potential women that could potentially take her husband's spot, that means she's done. She's fired. She's toast. The one thing that did kind of bother me is I'm thinking to myself, if you can't be the leader of the country without your girlfriend, your boo, your whatever, that bothered me. Like, you can't. I don't know. That bothered me. But I know we have to move on now to Mel.
No, but let's just. I'm gonna take a different stance to this. You can't be the president without your home life being solid, right? That's one of the reasons. And I don't know this for a fact, but have we ever had a president who hasn't been married?
Mm-mm. Well,
right?
Not in our generation,
right? And arguably that's why things like affairs we get so frightened. Because potentially a president whose family life isn't intact, that's not good for the country. And I have to go there. The current president and his family structure makes everybody feel safer, right? Because you're never thinking like, oh, he's gonna have a bad day and go home and have a bad... You're not thinking that. You're thinking everything's solid, everything's taken care of, so now he can go be the president, right?
Okay, that's a good way to look at it.
Well, the president has had a lot of things to worry about. But before we talk about Remington, guys, make sure you go to iTunes and check out our podcast if you haven't already. Rate, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, always tell a friend, associate, whatever it may be. Rate us 5 stars so we can be in the top 10, and we really do appreciate it. Also, check us out on YouTube. Same thing, like, comment, share, subscribe. We really appreciate it, and we love you guys, and thank you so much for your support as always. We come back this week. Olivia and her father are having the Sunday dinners, and it's
she owes him.
She owes him. It's just a contract. She already said that in the dinner. Like, I'm here. I'm going to do what I'm obligated to do, and we can keep it pushing. Like, let's not try to connect this anymore. But Huck and Jake are getting closer and closer in their investigation, if you want to call it that, and they're really conspiring to figure out what is really going on, what Fitz is hiding, and the whole scene though with Jake and Rowan after Rowan comes home from his Sunday dinner, and it was a little hard for me to believe. Even though they're B613, can he really sprint that fast behind the door?
Also, I'm gonna go back. So they had dinner for what? 15 minutes? No, seriously, like, do your job better. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So you guys couldn't copy files? Like, it took you what, 2 hours to decode his, or whatever the word is, hack into his computer, and took you that long to copy it? Like, you don't have like a fast burner?
And I don't understand why, like, the last, I guess it was for dramatic effect, but the last 5% was just taking forever. I'm like, if it was moving, it usually moves at a steady pace. So if this
it's
last
dramatic for the show.
Anyway, so that bothered me. But besides that, so we have this thing, and we'll just fast forward a little bit. We find out that there was another mission, Iceland, and the president was the one who shot down this plane, and he was told to by the U.S. government, presumably Rowan. And then after that, we find out that there was 329 passengers, and Maya Lewis was one of the passengers, who is Olivia's mom. And I think Kennelia actually predicted this a couple of weeks ago. Not saying the show's predictable at all, but it wasn't like a big, it wasn't that moment for me, and I don't know if we've had that moment yet this season. I'm kind of waiting for it.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, I had more questions about that whole thing when they, Huck finally figured out what happened.
Yeah.
My question was, and I don't think I caught it. I wasn't hearing. It was so fast. I was trying to write stuff down. Fitz was instructed by the government to shoot the plane down. Did they said something about in the news reports or something about flares? What did they say about flares?
Because they're trying to make it seem like it was an accident.
Mm-hmm.
But but he's saying that on the satellite that he can't find, no one, let's say, like on the ground, like none of the witnesses saw the flares. Like even though there was reports that there were flares, none of the witnesses saw flares. That's kind of what I heard.
Because my thing was, if there were flares, then that means people survived the crash. No planes don't automatically send up flares. Emergency flares go up if you strike the flare and you let it go in the air. So when I saw when he said flares, I was like, so they're survivors. People didn't die. Somebody survived, and because like that's just not something that happens. But that's more of a question. Like I was so confused.
So then, are you saying? So this goes back to, I think it's your theory that maybe she's not dead.
I don't think I'm not gonna believe that she's dead until they go and exhume the body and then she's in there. Like, you know what I mean? It's just something about it. I don't believe it. Because Rowan, he ordered the plane to be shot down. He wanted his wife to die. So if you're that passionate, it's just weird. In my predictions, I'll get to it. I don't know. I need to go home and sleep on it. I need to sleep on it and think about it.
What I'm still trying to figure out is, remember at the dinner when Olivia basically was like, talking about her mom and what she got from her mom, and basically Rowan was very clear. No, you're like me. Do you know what I mean? You got it from me. You got it. You turned out like this in spite of your mom, not because of your mom. I don't know. The fact that he's taking more not ownership, but it's almost like he's like, your whole life is because of me. And so now I'm going into conspiracy theory, and I loved what Huck said when he goes, 2 things make a coincidence, 3 things make a conspiracy, right? So I'm about to try to figure out these 3 things to connect the dots. So was Olivia in Fitz's campaign a plant? Because, okay, Rowan obviously knows Fitz and had him 20 years ago do Operation Remington to quote-unquote shoot down and kill his wife, right? Obviously, there must have been a trade-off, like you do something for me, I do something for you, right? Which is arguably get you to be president of the United States of America, right? Rowan obviously knows Cyrus. Rowan is the only person that Cyrus is afraid of. Cyrus is the one who brought Olivia in when they literally could not win the election, right? Number 1. Number 2, that was the last linchpin that they needed for Citron was Olivia. So did Rowan tell Cyrus to call Olivia to bring her into the campaign?
I'm a believer that Rowan probably did call Cyrus, but I don't think it was a favor for what Fitz did for him. Because Rowan doesn't seem like, it seems like he doesn't care if he owes you something. You know what I mean? Like, I think him ordering Fitz to shoot down the plane was that you do what I asked you to do. Done. Good job, sir. But I don't think, it just seems like, I don't think in Rowan's mind, he's like, you know what? I owe him something. Let me put him in the position to become president. I think when he found out Fitz was running, then he was probably like, this is my opportunity to use him. He's a pawn. But I just don't see Rowan caring that he owes nobody anything.
And not only that, but Fitz was probably 21, 22, 23 because Olivia was 12. And now Fitz is probably in his 50s. So, damn, that's like a long time you know what I'm saying? That's a long time for
But again, why is Rowan bringing this up, right? Because Fitz makes a good point when he was like, it's a secret that no one was looking for until Rowan started to up Cyrus's credentials, until he kills Pete, whatever the guy's name is, who tried to run into the White House. Until he started doing that and moving things forward, no one was looking for Remington.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because think about it, and I'm going to get my seasons mixed up, but remember, it got brought up before, and nothing was found out. Like, when we got introduced, I remember, sorry, I'm back now. So when Jake came into the picture, Cyrus was jealous, Cyrus looked into him, and he realized, they were in the Navy together, Operation Remington, but that was it.
Yeah.
Maybe, and I don't have a follow-up
time out, I take it back. Cyrus did, I'll do it online, sorry.
Maybe nobody was looking for Remington, but maybe Remington is looking for them. If the theory is true that Olivia's mom isn't dead or some other people aren't dead, they really know what happened. Somebody shot the plane down. There was no, you know what I mean? Like, maybe somebody is looking for them to uncover what really happened, not the other way around.
I see what you mean.
I don't know.
That could very much be true.
We'll see.
Let's continue the conversation online, though, guys, because clearly we can talk about this forever, as always. But we're always available on our social media, which we will give you at the end of the show. Before we go to news and gossip, who is your cold piece of the week?
You know what? I'm going to give the cold piece, and it's a light cold piece. I'm going to give the cold piece to Fitz, because he summoned Jake, had the Secret Service come and get him to play basketball with him because he was butthurt that Jake slept with his girlfriend. Being all brutal with him on the court. Sir, you got outplayed. I'm sorry you wanted Olivia to be watched. Jake is a dapper young man. You didn't think that she was going to be vulnerable when you were trying to do, when you were doing your thing and that something was going to happen. Oh, well, you got caught slipping. I think Fitz he's my cold piece of the week.
Well, let us know who your cold piece of the week is. And guys, it's time for news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, so Scandal has been all in the news, especially Kerry Washington for hosting SNL. So make sure you guys check that out on Saturday. It will be great. I saw the promos. Have you guys seen the promos for it? You haven't seen it?
I haven't.
Damn, never watched no promos or previews, but it's so funny. I think she's going to be great. A lot of people were not criticizing, but saying they didn't know if she could pull off that comedy, but I think she's a multi-talented actress, so she's going to be amazing.
And plus, there's a lot of rehearsals, and you have different types of, you have a list of different kind of skits that you want to do, and they work around what you're good at.
Right, to make you look the best. So she's going to be amazing. And also, probably right now, Joshua Malina is on Jimmy Kimmel. So it's probably airing right now. So if it's already off, then make sure you check that out on YouTube. I'm sure it's going to be up tomorrow. So watch that on YouTube. Always support. Do we have any other news and gossip, guys?
No.
All right, well, let's go into predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So Quinn's got a gun. And I said last week that something's going to happen with Quinn.
I thought you was going to sing, like...
Quinn's got a gun. Yeah. I thought about it. But sorry, guys. That was a little rough with the notes there. But I think that she's going to go off on the deep end. It's something dramatic. I'm predicting it's going to happen with Quinn because she's just... You can't keep shutting her out like that. I agree with you guys, or some of you guys who said that Olivia's mom is not dead. I agree with that. I think that she's going to come back as well. And Olitz is not over despite the revelation about the fact that Fitz killed her mother. And we can see that because Olivia wants more proof of how it happened and all this stuff. And she's going to confront him next week. So I think everything's going to be settled and all will be happy in Olitz land.
I think, going back to the Mellie and Olivia moment, when Mellie was drunk a couple episodes back, she told Fitz that Olivia is the puppet that she uses to pull Fitz's strings. I just have a feeling that Mellie summoning Olivia and asking her to come back is a puppet move, but not for the sake of Fitz being reelected. I think Mellie is flipping it, and I think she's gonna flip it, and this end game is gonna be about her. It's just something about that drunk speech. that just doesn't. I just don't believe that Mellie was that genuine and is that open arms for Olivia to come back and help out and be this duo again. I don't know. It's weird to me.
And just quickly, I forgot to mention this, but how you were saying how you don't believe that she's genuine in that. The next line she said, though, I think Olivia probably thought the same thing, but she said after that, why can't I see it right now? When she brought him into the office, or when she brought him into the room, she said, he needs you, so I need you. And then she said, we want him to be the man that we know he can be. We owe him a chance to run on his own steam.
Especially because of what we did.
Yeah, so.
My prediction is that the White House is going to have to declare war on Olivia, because I think that this Remington storyline is going to prevent her from running his campaign. So I think they're going to have to go on the defensive, and it's going to be war. And I think that the fact that whether or not Mellie is being upfront, Mellie at least showed herself to be vulnerable. The fact that she's not going to get what she wants, I think we are going to see a completely different side of Mellie that we have not seen before. And I think that this is her last grasp, and I think she sees everything that she's worked for. I think she literally sees it slipping, and I think she's going to claw her way back any way that she can.
I was just going to say that that Mellie is tired of playing the game. She wants things her way, and she's going to do whatever it takes and not play this whole little team thing. And I think that potentially maybe she wants Olivia back on the side so that she can ruin the relationship, and so that it can all be about Mellie, or maybe bring this whole thing up about Fitz again. I'm not really sure, but I do think it's for the sake of Mellie, not for the sake of the three of them. And then I think just as we got a tidbit of, they're back. Now, like you said, the whole roller coaster. Now Liv's going to be mad because she's going to blame Fitz for what he did. Yet, in the big scheme of things, can we really blame Fitz? Because it was really her dad. But I think she's going to take it out on, now it's her turn. Just like Fitz dogged her with the whole rigging the election, now it's Liv's turn. And that's it for me.
Great predictions, guys. And where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter at Sofia Stanley.
You can find me at Bamm Ericsen, and thank you to Erica Zuna for the t-shirt for Halloween.
And you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Kennelia.
Somebody send us some stuff too. Bam always get the goods. We're here too. Anyway, you can find me at Emile Ennis Jr. on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and follow me on YouTube at Chasing LA, or just search my name on YouTube. You'll find me. Guys, thanks so much for joining us again. I hope you had a wonderful, wonderful Halloween. Enjoy your candy, enjoy your parties, whatever you're doing, and we will see you next week, same time, same place. We love you, Gladiators. Have a great night.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.